Notre Dame. And I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start with Albert.
Oh boy.
Yeah. How
did I feel?
Yes.
So I think, Lori, I mean, like I've told you before, I think you have an amazing clarity of voice, calming voice. You never seem to experience any kind of, it never appears like you're nervous or fearful of standing up there and delivering a speech, which I think gives the rest of the room a sense of just calmness of, that's a target state we all want to get to at some point. It's interesting because I'm working on a project right now where we're working with wealth advisors, and they say the most important thing with wealth advisors is that they feel that they trust us. And whenever I see you come up, the emotion that comes to my mind is, I trust that I'm going to learn something. I trust that the advice you give me is solid. And it's always like, you know, have a growth mindset when you watch Lori speak, because you're going to really learn something if you pay attention. And today was no different. One more thing I felt, and I really liked this as well. I liked how you shone the spotlight on others, because I feel like that you made us all feel like we were part of a team, like calling out Heather, calling out John, and the way you just did that so eloquently and so just seamlessly made us feel like, okay, we're all one group here, and that was very effective.
Yeah, and harkening back to references made previously in the meeting, like the Paris, you know, that for me was, oh, okay, we're all here, we've been here. But kind of like an inside joke. Thank you, Albert. Heather.
Oh,
How was Lori's speech structure?
Lori's speech structure was amazing, as expected. This speech was a little different. What I noticed is whenever you approached us, you sort of took a step back to introduce the purpose of your speech and how you're going to do things differently. So you definitely acknowledged why you can do things a little differently and what you wanted to get from this speech and how you were going to use this as an opportunity to do something that you're passionate about. And then you sat down and shared your passion with us. And so the structure of your speech really supported that learning and development and that growth mindset that we all needed to be in. You had an incredibly strong opening because I understood the purpose of this speech and also what you were personally looking to get out of this speech. And that was really unique. Then for the sequence that you used, I actually took those notes from the slides. So I think that your use of the slides was fantastic, but I didn't, as I peeked over my shoulder, I didn't see anything on the slides that you weren't perfectly clearly explaining using each other as examples. So I felt while the slides would be good to refer back to, I learned more from watching you and from having the conversation with you. This definitely felt like a conversational speech. And I really thought that that was awesome because the topic is evaluate to motivate. And that motivation, that self-esteem building is a conversation. It's not something you can give or just tell. It's conversations that you have that require those real world examples that you are so good at providing. The tell and sell approach, a lot of those fun different things that you provided now give me things that I need to go and look for. So throughout the structure of your speech, I felt like you gave me enough information to know what to look for, some nuggets to kind of go and treasure hunt and find. The call to action was clearly there. I now know what is expected of an evaluator, how to be a good evaluator, and something that you hit on repeatedly was the need for empathy in evaluations. So I feel that you definitely used good structure, had strong opening, strong ending, but throughout the course of the speech, the thing that I heard you consistently refer back to is it's not about you, it's about the speaker. Be empathetic towards the speaker. You gave real world examples of times when people weren't. Definitely a lot of lessons there. A big page of notes, so thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Heather. And for our last evaluator, Mark.
Do you want to, is there anything that you had for Lori before I go?
Did I? Should I have?
No.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if there was, okay. All right. Again, the mechanics. I'll go over a couple things. These are like things you just do well. Eye contact, no issues absolutely whatsoever. Obviously a perfect 5 in regards to that. Comfort level, I would also then say perfect 5, that you were comfortable, and not only did you display no nervousness, but I liked that you were confident to make changes that you felt would be the best way for the audience to receive your message. And that is a confidence that comes with being comfortable in your comfort level. So I thought you did very well there. Clarity, no issues at all. Understanding any of your words, that was very clear. And I know you mentioned the crutch words things a couple of times. I think that there are some speeches where, yes, even one crutch word could be distracting. I don't think this is one of those speeches. I think it keeps it more conversational in nature, and that it's okay to have some crutch words brought in. So I had no issues with that at all.
We're gonna have a lot of time.
I can talk
You
to
can
you.
talk to her
We can
after the
we
meeting.
can go offline, that's perfect.
All right.
Unless,
Sorry,
do you have a
making
piece
sure.
of feedback for me that I need to go and improve upon?
So actually, I had one question that would kind of clarify something. So I always thought it was the evaluator's job to kind of state the purpose of what you're evaluating, but you mentioned that in the speech, your speech, not as a tutoring session, but when you started your speech, you said this is what I'm doing. So is it the speaker or the evaluator who?
I'd say it's either or. And when I evaluate, I always express what the purpose of the speech was, because most people don't know what the purpose is. So but sometimes you will see that I will open up with some backstory, because again, I'm trying to evoke something or present something, so I want to align that purpose with how people are receiving it. So I say it's either or.
Okay.
Yep.
Did anybody have any last thing for Lori before we close out? Well, thank you very much for being on my first evaluation panel, I hope, first.